This experience would open up in a house, in the house of my deceased grandmother, to be exact. I frequent this particular house fairly often on the real side, for it is here that I very often have an audience with the real guides. Why they have chosen this house, who can say? But it's a good enough spot as any for divulging information to me. Most experiences will be very hands-on, out in the field, if you will, created scenarios that the guides have constructed, or already created areas in the simulators that are suitable for that which they wish to impart to us, to reveal what we need be aware of now, the trainings and demonstrations that we can become more aware through. On occasion, the guides will simply wish to impart information, as I said, and with me, they will do so in this very house. The guides also assume the form of my deceased grandparents generally, when in this house also, and on occasion be in these same forms during experiences out and about on the real side. The guides can take the form of anyone or anything they wish to feature in the experiences, and take whatever roles in them that are most effective. They do this alternative form assumption primarily as to not take centre stage, as it were, for our attentions would surely be more fixated on Rebazar and the Golden Guides if they featured as they actually are, than the experience they were trying to draw our attention to. So, to take a role and feature in the experience without representing a distraction is best achieved by assuming the forms of random individuals in the adventures, as friends, relatives, or whoever else it may be. On a few experiences recently, a guide has taken the role of a barman, as an example. Of course, the Dark Force characters, the reptilians especially, are masterful at the art of shape-shifting, so naturally they can assume any form just as the guides can. But as we become more aware, We can see through the mimicry. Everything is revealed to the real awareness as it actually is, and not as it is outwardly projected to be. And so, we may well see these attempted deceptions as flawed, malformed, or sometimes faceless, or curiously unfinished. And of course, the guides are the most real and aware beings that walk the creational simulators. And on the real side, when we encounter them, they have a presence about them that is undeniable, an isness beingness that can't be faked. So the best discernment of an individual is through our real awareness, and we come to recognize the distinct differences between dark force shape-shifting deceptors and the real guides who assume various forms in our experiences. In addition, the guides are always around and always watching, as is life itself, even though they may not be visibly present on the real side experiences in any shape or form. This is very often done deliberately as an exercise for the real guides to determine our intent and how we will use our free will. For if we are in the midst of situations, and the guides very apparent in their presence, we very likely will be on our best, making sense with life behaviour, so to speak, a little like the students being at their best when the teacher is in the schoolroom. What can be a better test of the individual's intent, focus, and commitment to their process of awareness than to leave the room and see how the students proceed and conduct themselves, absent of the teacher's scrutiny? On the real side, then, the guides will watch to see how we utilize our free will, if we indeed will conduct ourselves with sincerity, honour, real intent, and integrity, when it appears no one is watching what we are doing. Anyway, I've come to realize that the dark forces are also aware of this particular house where I will have my occasional meetings with the guides in. The dark forces don't see everything. They are rather limited to the self-decided restriction they have chosen for themselves, and obscured is their vision by these personal self-bubble realities that prevent perception beyond the created causes that make up their construction, so they can only see so much on the real side, but enough that they can interfere, be disruptive, and generally influenced to prevent, by any means necessary, anybody trying to become more aware of the real light beings they really are, and recognize the true reality. This is why sometimes experiences also are prevented from reaching our personal selves. If that which is being shared or divulged is something the guides do not want the dark forces to be aware of, the experiences then may be occurring with the real awareness only, a reality aside from creation, and a place, those without the connection to their real awareness or recognition of it cannot go and access, even though the dark forces, like any individual, has a real awareness. They are very much personal self-immersed, creational based, and the only information they can get their hands on will be that which circulates in real side experiences that are designed for the personal self and its process, as all experiences generally are. For if we can bring back the real side experiences to the personal self, then the dark forces very much can be privy to that information also, or in the very least get glimpses of it. So it's a safety mechanism to ensure no dark force reptilian snout can poke under the tent, as it were, and eavesdrop on information that they would only use as to their controlling advantage. Anyway, as I was saying, the dark forces are aware then of these meetings I have in this house, and have kind of constructed their own version, as on occasion I will find myself in the fake version. This will again be apparent to those who are becoming more aware, as with the flaws that are present with the shape-shifting guises the reptilians adopt. It is so with this dark force recreated house. There are inconsistencies and telltale signs that indicate it as being the version of the house moulded by ill-intended hands. for the house will seem far darker. There will be overgrown trees and gnarly foliage pressing in on the windows, and often a seeping, forbidding darkness flowing down the stairs from the floor above. If my deceased grandparents are present also, these will be the reptilians assuming their forms, but never can they replicate the all-aliveness, being, isness, awareness of the guides. So generally, I see through their attempted deceptions. And here I was, in this house again, which seemed now to be for a different purpose. I detected no sense of malice or dark forces taint, so it suggested this was the very house used by the guides for our occasional meetings, or at least remarkably similar. The house was deserted, but for one individual, a woman who had taken up temporary residence here.